few video game studios have left a mark as profound and tragic as Telltale Games. Born from a passion to revive adventure gaming, it soared to new heights with groundbreaking narratives, only to collapse under the strain of rapid expansion and creative exhaustion. My name is Tub, and this is the story of Telltale Games, their rise, their fall, and their bid for rebirth. Founded in 2004, Telltale Games was born from the passion of three former LucasArts developers, Kevin Bruner, Jan Connors, and Troy Melander, who wanted to revive the adventure game genre many believed was dying. LucasArts had famously pioneered narrative-driven adventure games in the 90s with hits like The Secret of Monkey Island and Grim Fandango. But by the early 2000s, they shifted focus to other types of games, leaving a void in the adventure game genre. This shift happened after LucasArts canceled several in-development adventure projects, such as Sam & Max Freelance Police and Full Throttle 2, halting work on the adventure games that the founders of Telltale were passionate about. And in March 2004, LucasArts officially announced the cancellation of Sam & Max Freelance Police, citing marketplace realities and underlying economic considerations, basically saying that it wasn't making them enough money. Feeling the loss of this genre's future, these developers decided to leave LucasArts behind and forge their own path, founding Telltale Games in July 2004 with a vision to breathe new life into narrative gaming. Telltale's founders embraced a fresh approach. Instead of focusing on traditional puzzle-heavy gameplay, they wanted to craft strong, cinematic narrative experiences centered on player choice and consequence. They innovated by adopting an episodic release model similar to television series, to keep players engaged with serialized storytelling, delivering new episodes digitally over time. Their first experiment was Telltale's Texas Hold'em, a modest poker game used both to test their Telltale Tool game engine and establish themselves in the market. But it was the Sam & Max franchise, originally a cult classic comic and cartoon.
Feeling lightheaded, kids? Are you suffering the ill effects of too many fast-paced, hard-sell, in-your-face adverts designed to compete for your parents' hard-earned dollar? Well, you're not alone!
The folks in programming are sympathetic to your plight, and as such, have agreed to present today's episode in its entirety without any commercials at all.
You heard right, gang. One whole episode of Sam & Max without commercial interruptions of any...
Actually, today's video is sponsored by my merch. That's about it. Go get some if you want. I'm not gonna ask you to go over there. I mean, you know, you don't even know who I am. So, I mean, why would you, right? I'm just a fucking idiot, I guess. Whatever. We'll just back to the video. And Sam & Max was also a LucasArts game that eventually solidified Telltale's identity. So the Sam & Max franchise kind of made Telltale in a way, at least in the beginning. And after waiting for the Sam & Max license to return to its creator, Steve Purcell, Telltale launched Sam & Max Save the World in 2006. It showcased new episodes every month, and for a game, this was a groundbreaking approach at the time. Following Sam & Max, Telltale released other licensed episodic games, such as Bone, based on Jeff Smith's graphic novels, and Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People. Guess I can't fucking play that one. Fuck! These titles garnered generally positive reception and confirmed Telltale's reputation for quality narrative-driven games. The studio successfully revived interest in adventure games, proving that there was still an eager audience for story-driven choice-based games. The true turning point came in 2012 with The Walking Dead. Developed in collaboration with Robert Kirkman's comic franchise, this title redefined what a video game could be, emphasizing emotional storytelling and moral dilemmas over complex gameplay mechanics. Players bonded with characters like Clementine, making heartbreaking decisions that resonated deeply and later on led to multiple accolades, including several Game of the Year awards. This success transformed Telltale from a niche studio into a household name in gaming. And when you thought of the Telltale name, it almost felt like its own genre, which, in a way, it kind of was. The episodic format enabled them to tell expansive stories over multiple episodes and seasons, maintaining player engagement over time and setting a new standard for narrative interactivity. The popularity of The Walking Dead opened doors to other high-profile licenses, and soon, Telltale was adapting some of the most iconic entertainment franchises into their signature episodic games. The studio became synonymous with emotional storytelling, player choice, and innovative episodic releases, ushering in a new era for narrative-driven games. However, success brought strain. Telltale's rapid growth from around 100 employees in 2010 to nearly 400 at its peak created constant crunch-time environments. Multiple projects ran in parallel, forcing teams into impossible schedules. And from 2013 to 2017, they had a whopping 7 games being developed, and that's not even counting their canceled projects. And even if that wasn't enough to mess them up, the aging Telltale tool engine became a technical bottleneck, leading to glitches and limitations on graphical quality. And more critically, the creative spark began to dim. The company's reliance on the quote-unquote Walking Dead formula made innovation difficult. Many games felt repetitive as player choices, while numerous, often led to similar outcomes, creating an illusion rather than true narrative branching. The pressure to release episodes punctually sometimes led to rushed content and high bug rates, souring player experiences. And this led to majority of the community feeling like every game wasn't actually reliant on the player's choice, which, in hindsight, it really wasn't. Behind the scenes, there were reports of excessive micromanagement, a quote-unquote culture of fear. CEO Kevin Bruner stepped down in 2017, replaced by Pete Hawley, who attempted restructuring and layoffs to focus on fewer, higher quality titles. Despite his efforts though, financial troubles loomed, worsened by lukewarm sales for some franchises like Batman, and in a stunning move in 2018, Telltale announced a majority studio closure. Pete Hawley came out with a statement saying, "It's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale. As we work to set the company on a new course, unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback. But ultimately, that did not translate to sales. And with a heavy heart, we watched our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the games industry." Telltale's new CEO, Pete Hawley, then went on to lay off approximately 225 employees with little warning. And without further investment, production on key projects like The Wolf Among Us 2 and Stranger Things were halted. The remaining team was tasked with completing contractual obligations, like finishing porting Minecraft Story Mode to Netflix, and finishing up the final season of The Walking Dead. This closure was abrupt, and it left many veteran staff unemployed without severance, igniting calls within the gaming community for better labor protections and unionization. Though the closure of Telltale Games in 2018 felt like the end of an era, the story was far from over. In late 2019, LCG Entertainment, an independent company, acquired many of Telltale's key assets and intellectual properties, including licenses to some of the studio's most beloved franchises, like The Wolf Among Us and Batman. This move effectively revived Telltale Games as a brand and studio, but with a new mission and leadership. Under new management and relocated to Malibu, California, the revived Telltale aimed to learn from past mistakes. They implemented changes to foster more sustainable development practices, address the toxic workplace culture reported previously, and focus on quality over quantity. With a more measured approach, the new Telltale sought to rebuild trust with the fans and the broader gaming community. One of the most anticipated projects under the Revival banner is The Wolf Among Us 2, a sequel to one of Telltale's most critically acclaimed narrative-driven adventures. Initially announced before the studio's shutdown, development had to be paused, but was later resumed with careful collaboration between the new Telltale and a group of former Telltale developers known as Ad Hoc Studio. This collaboration represents a bridge between the original team's creative vision and a fresh start for the brand. Besides reviving existing franchises, the new Telltale has focused heavily on re-releasing classic titles for modern platforms, polishing these older games to reach both nostalgic fans and new players. This strategy helps maintain the studio's presence while building momentum for new projects. And though challenges remain, including meeting fan expectations, navigating the evolving landscape of interactive storytelling, the revived Telltale Games is positioning itself not just as a memory of past glory, but as an active, evolving storyteller. The hope is that by blending lessons learned with a renewed passion for innovation, this new chapter will see Telltale rise stronger and more resilient than ever before. Today, the legacy of Telltale Games lives on in a few exciting projects that continue the studio's passion for narrative storytelling. The revived Telltale Games is still actively developing The Wolf Among Us 2, the long-awaited sequel to one of their most critically acclaimed titles. In 2025, Ad Hoc released the demo for Dispatch, a new original narrative-driven game that blends superhero workplace comedy with strategy elements. And so far, it has been praised for its sharp writing, strong voice cast featuring actors like Aaron Paul and Laura Bailey, and this game has innovative gameplay that honors the choice-driven legacy of the old Telltale. And if you're watching this video as it comes out, Dispatch releases on October 22nd. Not like sponsored or anything, I wanted to let you know, because the game actually looks pretty fun, alright? I am sponsored by my merch though, which you— Shut your fucking mouth! Okay. The story of Telltale Games is a vivid lesson in innovation, ambition, and caution. They rejuvenated narrative-driven games and redefined player agency, which showed how unchecked growth and creative stagnation can bring even the brightest studio to its knees. For fans and industry watchers alike, Telltale's tale serves as both a reminder of the transformative power of interactive storytelling and a warning of the challenges faced by creative studios navigating rapid success and high expectations. As the studio continues to release new work, the world watches, hopeful that Telltale Games can write a new chapter in its tale.